Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network that's available on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all social medias. On a link on the bottom, make sure to like our Facebook page so you're up to date. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, where you get to enjoy over 1,000 episodes. Today, we sit down with our guests pre-recorded, of course, but we're going to talk to our guests live from the great state of California, Linda, Montana. We have Lisa Montana here on the Keith Andrew Network. For people who want to know all about her, Linda Montana is known for having a background in the entertainment world as being an actress, a professional singer, and a voiceover actress. That being said, we have so many great things to talk about here on the Keith Andrew Network. But with that being said, you're going to hear from her when we come back from this commercial break.
Hello, I'm Linda Montana, and I just did a fun interview with Keith Andrew and his entertainment, and I hope you enjoy watching it.
It is a real honor and privilege having you here on the Keith Andrew Network. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
No, the honor's all mine. Now, for you may be wondering, and for people who never seen the Keith Andrew Network, what is the Keith Andrew Network? The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove them, stem out something. With that being said, you do not have to have a disability or any disabilities to be on my show. Just the fact you're taking the time to support a talk show host with a disability. In return, you get a professional recommendation, an article, and 30 minutes of sharing your message. So you're helping me, I'm helping you, and at the end, you're making a new friend out of it. We're gonna talk about some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. You can ask me anything you want. So the first one we're going to talk about is icebreakers. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Linda Montana. I'm a working actress. I've been in the business my whole life. I started out, my first film I did when I was 7. I doubled a girl in the Will Rogers story. I did a hippodrome stand on my horse running down the field at the Will Rogers State Park. And the two Epper brothers, who became famous stuntmen when, I was 7 and they were probably 7 or 8 or 9, were on either side of me. And we said, "Hey, Grandpa, look at us," that type of thing. So I was raised in a show business family. My father was Monty Montana, a famous cowboy. And I worked in rodeos and fairs throughout my childhood because I had my own little spot of trick roping, doing butterflies, popovers, reverse butterflies, jump in and out, all that type of business, and a big loop. Did that for years. And then I even got to do it on top of the Wells Fargo Bank float in the Tournament of Roses parade, roping in a little bitty confined area that, heaven forbid, I didn't step back too far and fall in. So that was fun. But because I'm an actress, singer, and I was a dancer, Gary Davis asked me to be on that float because I worked with him in Annie Get Your Gun at Lawrence Welk Village Theater. So I've worked a lot on television, film, commercials, and now I do voiceovers and a lot of theater as well, musical theater.
No, that's absolutely commendable. Now, you mentioned, well, let me ask you because I was looking at your Facebook and there's a lot of pictures I do want to talk about. And as we're talking, it will be on the screen. One
Mhm.
picture that caught my interest was that you on a horse jumping over something, or was that?
Oh, yes, that was me. They asked me way back when if I could ride a horse and jump over a fence. And I said, 3 feet, no higher. I used to do that as a kid out in our arena because I lived in the middle of 30 acres in Northridge, and now it's all subdivided and everybody else lives there. But it was fun, and so I did that. So I went to, they cast me, and I went to the place in Burbank, the horse place. Pardon me, I forget. Anyway, and I had a lesson, one lesson, and the trainer there said I was the only person who'd ever jumped a horse on the first lesson, but I'd done it before. And so we did it for the commercial, and then they had me change my clothes, and then I was an old lady. They changed everything, and I'm knitting. And I said, well, what do you want me to think? Happy, content. That was the only direction I got. So, okay. So I was just thinking away and knitting away because I do know how to knit. So, but that was me.
Now, you mentioned that you do have family in the business. The next one I'm going to talk about, if I may, is your mother. And on the screen, it's going to be you. I believe it's your brother, you, and your father. It was an old
Yes.
black and white picture. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we worked rodeos and fairs uh, for decades all around the country. Calgary Stampede, Denver Stock Show, Pendleton Roundup, Cheyenne Frontier Days. That's just a few of them. So that was a lot of fun. And we were a family act and we all participated. So my brother was a really fine trick roper, and he learned how to play the mandolin and the banjo and the guitar, and he sang. And he was very talented, and he had his Buffalo Bill's Wild West show that he did around the world, even in Kuwait, just before everything hit the fan. And so, it was really fun. And my mother was the brains of the family, and she worked really hard for Daddy, did all kinds of things, and Daddy was the showman. So I had the best of both worlds because Mother taught me business. Because you need to know that to survive. You really do.
No, I agree with you. Now, I want to talk to you about the next subject we're going to talk about is sports. But before we get to that, when you went to college, for people who want to know, you went to UCLA.
Correct?
Were you a study girl or were you a party animal?
Oh, I made the dean's list. I worked my keys off studying because I had a wonderful roommate, Joanna Damasio, and she was very well read. And I was reading this stuff, and I said, "What's this, my liege?" She kind of laughed. She says, "No, it's my liege." I wasn't subjected to that. Working rodeos, that's Western cowboy stuff. So I took humanities class and I learned all of these things, and I was going, "Holy cow!" So it was wonderful to be subjected to all this other area of the world that I had no clue about. And Joanna and I have been lifelong friends ever since. And I see her as often as possible.
In
She's married and had kids and was a teacher and has retired since. So,
fact, the video that I saw, if you can be friends with someone, I believe they say I'm not a busser at obviously. And you say if you have a friendship that lasts more than 5 or 7 years, that it's going to last for the rest of your lives.
Well, there was two other gals that we keep in touch with too. We all lived in one of the dorms over there.
Let me ask you this, because you have a great history, and I would love to know more about it. But let me ask you, how has COVID impacted your life, and do you see life in a different point of view?
Well, after I did Hawaii 5 and they sent me over there first class, my gosh, they picked me up and flew me over first class, and then I did the show and then flew home and everything. And then COVID hit right after that. And so I started doing a lot of Zoom classes. I was in Del Shore's acting class. So that was great. So it didn't affect me as much because I was, instead of going places to do classes or whatnot, I was doing it on Zoom. So I got to see people and interact with them that way. And basically, then I'd go to the grocery store, go to doctor's offices, and not much else. But it wasn't that, it was just a change.
Oh, I was just looking up. I should have done this before, but I do apologize. I was just looking you up on IMDb. You have an IMDb, right?
Oh, I sure do.
So, what were some of your favorite films? So, your top five favorite films that you were ever a part of?
Films or TV or all of it?
All of it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I loved working on Hawaii 5 I must say, and working on Parks and Recreation with Amy Poehler. She was very nice to me. And a funny thing about that is I went and had the audition, and it was for a lady who was competing in the beauty pageant, who was my age, competing with 20-year-olds. And I thought, she's got to have a screw loose to do that. I mean, all these young gals, and I'm anyhow. So I was supposed to sing a song. So I said to the operator, I said, I want to sing it twice. And she said, okay. So I sang it well the first time, and the second time I sang it as if I couldn't sing and was trying to. And luckily, I did really well. And so I went to see my agent and I said, you know what? I think I did really well on that, but I'm going to Prague tomorrow on a trip. You are? I said, yeah, but if I get it, I'll come back. You will? Yep. So I'm over in Prague walking down the street with my friends on this tour, and my phone rings, says, well, guess who's first choice? I said, okay, I'll book my flight tomorrow, because I had to stop and take care of I took care of my mother for 30 years after Daddy left. And the last, I don't know, good 10 years of it or so, Mother had Alzheimer's, and I was the caregiver at home. I took care of her. I gave her a bath. I fed her. I did laundry. I cooked, took her to the doctors, everything. And I had to stop my career because I had no time for me. So after she passed away, I thought, since I got to have this audition, I thought, I've got to start again, because I was doing pretty well before I had to stop. And then there's big gap of, so that's why I did that. And I paid several $1,000s to do that. But I came back and did the show, and Amy heard about it. And then she wrote me into 2 more episodes. Bless her heart. So there you go on that. So that was just wonderful for me to get started again. And then I've done commercials and whatnot, which is really fun too. So my favorite shows, oh gosh, that and Hawaii 5 I enjoyed working on the soaps, General Hospital, Young and the Restless, Capital, Santa Barbara. I did a lot of those 13 years of that. I did, when I was first starting out, I was an extra, and then I got under fives and I get principal. So I did all kinds of stuff. So, when you're first starting out, you got to take what you can get.
Well, I
That's
do
it.
apologize. I couldn't find your IMDb, but I have interviewed a lot of people from Hawaii Five-O, Young and the Restless, or in General Hospital. I have interviewed her. You might actually know most of them. I don't know the names off the top of my head. I'm not trying to think about hurting myself, but I do have a whole list of people, and I do enjoy talking to you. You're more than welcome to be on my show anytime. I'm looking forward to part two. But the
Well, thank
next one I want to talk to you about
you.
is social media. Now, for people who want to follow you on social media, the first subject we're going to talk about is Instagram. Do you have an Instagram?
I do. All of those things. I don't remember the things. One of them is Linda.Montana.37. I don't know if it's Instagram or what,
It will
but
be on the
and
screen. Don't worry about it.
Facebook. I'm not good at that. I'm of the older generation that goes, huh? So, in fact, I was in an airport and I was talking to some lady who was sitting beside me. I said, I got to do this Facebook business. And she says, well, let me help you. Bless her heart, she got it going for me because, I went, I don't know about this stuff.
But the reason I bring it up is because I always say social media, and then that's why it goes. I try to find a way to make the conversation go into it's like, oh, let's talk about social media. And we talk about it for 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, let's go something else. But I have special effects as we're talking around the screen.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, let's give Instagram 15 seconds. We can talk about that real fast. Then we go to Facebook. Well, I'll give you an example I'm talking about. So on Instagram, have you met any producers? Do you use it for networking, or is it just like something you just look at? And how
Uh,
do you use
I
Instagram?
use those things for business, quite frankly. I don't do politics because pardon me, you'll piss off half the
So you
nation.
can curse if you want to.
I don't want to, but it's not wise.
Yeah.
It's, it just, I just avoid that completely. Um, yeah, I've linked up with several actors, and there's PJ Auckland who's on there. I've done a whole bunch of audiobook classes with him, master series. And my dear friend Pat Fraley, who I've taken a bunch of classes with him, he's the one who really trained me so well for voiceovers in all kinds of areas. And yeah, it's a business thing because uh, years ago, I think before the pandemic, they said, "Oh, are you on this? Are you on that?" We check that, and I
Yeah.
went, "Oh, okay." Another thing I have to do, because oh, geez, Louise, it's enough already to learn the lines, and it used to be to get there and do the performance. Now I've had to learn how to have my backdrop and where to look because you don't look straight in the camera when you're doing your auditions. You got to look off to the side, and I've got my little handy dandy light over here, and I had to learn all that stuff. And, for a senior citizen, it's quite a thing to learn all this new stuff. But that's what we have to do.
Well, that's
You
why
want to
we're
compete with the big girls, you got to jump up and do it.
That's why I wear the filter glasses because I give you an example. I was talking to my brother, and oh,
Hmm.
when you talk to someone, you're supposed to look at the green dot. You're supposed to look at the camera.
Hmm.
And I was like, when I talk to someone, I give them respect. So I'm looking at you. So instead of before, I had one eye here looking at the camera and one eye over here. So I looked like freaking Mr. Magoo. So I'm like, okay, let's use the filter glasses so now I don't look cross-sighted because it's only natural. So like now I'm like on a slant, but
Hmm.
I'm looking at my reflection too. As long as I'm looking straight, it
Hmm.
looks like I'm looking in the right direction. If I'm like over here, I'm like, what the hell is he staring at? So I use the glasses to help me navigate,
Hmm.
if it looks good, and plus it goes nice with the shirt. Also, I have a stigma.
Right.
I blink
Sure.
too much. So the next one, and you're right about, don't say stupid things on social media. Unfortunately, I have. Well, hey, what happened to freedom of speech? You know, but yeah, I worked for one store. Give me a little history about me. I worked a horrible store. Nothing against the brand itself, but the people I worked with, complete ass backwards. It's a long story I can tell you off the air. Pretty much, I was set up to fail from the start. Long story short. And you're like, oh, we do background checks. Do you have, so like you said, do you have social media? I lied. And I'm like, I'm not giving, I'm not, I was a stock worker. And I was like, I'm not giving up my passion of being a talk show host for stock and shelves for the rest of my life. But yes, that you eventually, for you, for me, for anyone, social media is your resume. It is your brand. So you have to really protect yourself.
Yes, you do, because they check that and it's there forever.
That's true. They can bring up something from 20 years ago and like, why are you digging into my past? So, hey, you can't fix stupid by can numb it with a 2x4. But the next question I want to talk to you about, going back to Hawaii Five-0, who were some of your favorite castmates that you interact with, and do you keep in touch with any? Because I'm a big fan of Grace Parks.
Um, I haven't kept in touch with any of them because they haven't given me their name numbers, you know. Um, but the gal who's I, I wish I could remember her name. And the other thing was the equestrian center. I remember that long ago. Um, the gal who's now on NCIS, the lady who's part Chinese. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think Grace Parks, but I'm not 100%. She was
Um,
the Asian girl.
yeah, well, anyhow, she was so nice to me. So nice to me. And I was very appreciative because we did a scene. If you look on the IMDb, I have my demo there. And you see that we're talking in a couple of scenes.
Oh, definitely send it to me. I will definitely put that in the video. And no
Well,
disrespect. I know we talk about politically correctness. That's Grace Parks she's absolutely one of my favorite actresses. And when I don't know anyone, I'm like, oh, that's the person. Then I kind of like, maybe I should state that a little better. But but I want you to be brutally honest. This is a new subject that I brought to my show.
okay.
And make a long story short, a lot of people said to me over the years, you said it takes about 2 to 3 hours, give or take, 2.5 hours for you to do the editing and the producing. Do people pay for your time? Because it's a business. You're not doing this for, excuse my language, shits and giggles. You want to make a living off this. And I said in the very beginning, this is about my 5th year when I started, and they're like, oh, well, I don't charge people because no one knows who I am and I want to get my name out there. So I'm like, okay, now it's officially my 13-year anniversary. Thanks to you, we're up to over 1,200 And I'm going to show you right here. I have a binder. It's actually 1,244 episodes. And I can't really. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said amazing.
No, I appreciate
Bravo.
that.
Bravo to you.
And the reason I bring it up is like, oh, okay, people keep saying me for the past 10, 11 years, you should, do people pay you? How do you support yourself? We can talk about that off the air. But I said, okay, well, it takes 2.5 hours. Why not charge $32? Not a big deal. Hey, yo, you want to fight about it? We can fight about it. 32. I know, bad accent. Just want to make you laugh. But it's like $32. And I'm like, okay, so to give you 32, what do they get in return? What you get in return is a professional interview. You get an article, you get a recommendation. Your interview will be shared on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's got to get exposure. So by working with me, is you're supporting a talk show host with a disability. In return, my job is for you to get you exposure in views. And I'm like,
And
okay, this is good. I don't want to I used to work at Walmart. And
mhm.
people are like, oh, you're so funny. You're making jokes. What do you do? Oh, I'm actually a talk show host in my free time. Oh, really? Do you get paid? I'm like, no, I don't get paid. But why do something that you hate when you have a strong passion to do something that you love? And I love doing this. So my question for you is, being completely honest, no cards up your sleeve. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
Well, I thought you were legit, and I thought, fine, let's do it.
No, I appreciate it. And when I told you about the $32, and for some reason now that's becoming a big fight statement. People are like, how dare you charge for doing interviews? I'm like, we're for people who get the wrong impression. I want your honest opinion. You're not just talking to me, you're talking to the viewers out there. When you saw it was $32 and like, okay, these are the services that he's providing, was that a red flag for you? Or did you say, you know what, I seen his work and he's professional?
I thought it's editing time and effort and everything. And it's a way to help you and help me get more exposure. That's what it's all about. In all of my acting classes and all the other things I've taken, they say you got to keep acting, you got to keep doing it. And if you're not getting the parts, write your own, produce your own, which you are doing. And then you get exposure, and then, oh, somebody else, oh, here you go. And one thing leads to another. So
Yeah,
this
it's
has
all about
been listening for
networking.
me. So thank you very much.
And I
I'm
agree.
honored that you asked me.
And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. It's all about, everyone says it's who you know, and well, now I'm gonna buzz. I heard this all my life. Now I'm gonna buzzer it. It's the people that you know. And you may have terrific talent. You can be a terrific singer. That's great. But if you don't know the right people, your connections are not gonna put you where you have to be.
Correct.
But I have a couple questions for you off the air. What's the last 3 minutes? I'm going to pass it over to you. Do you have any new projects coming up? How can our fans get in touch with you? This is your time. You can talk about anything you would like.
Well, they can do it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. That's fine. And I've I just did an audition with this last week, and my agent called and said, "Well, they're interested in you between you and the other lady." Okay, so I may or may not have a job soon. I don't know. And we actors are professional auditioners. And every now and then we get paid to do it. And that's the reality of it. We have one audition after another, after another, after another, and you just go, that was good. Okay, next. It's how it is. You can want all you want to, but until they want you.
Here's a bonus question for you, real fast. That's a rapid fire, yes or no. Someone brought this up a while ago, and I thought it was an interesting idea, but you've been in business so many years, and I thank you for that. You are a tremendous inspiration to me and other people. And the question you just mentioned, you do an audition over audition, and there's so many auditions. So the question is, real fast, yes or no? Should you be paid for your time when you do auditions?
Well, wouldn't that be novel? It'd be nice, but I don't expect it to happen.
I agree. But we will definitely do a part 2. Again, for our viewers, this will be shared on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Actually, we'll correct that. It will be shared on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. The first 3 minutes will be available on Instagram and TikTok. It was a fantastic interview. I hope I made a good impression on you. And I'm looking.
I have one thing more to say.
Go ahead.
It's never too late. Follow your dream. Go do it. There will be stumbling blocks, tough times. Keep at it.
No, you're absolutely right. And remember, age is only a number, and it doesn't mean anything. As long as you have the heart and passion, keep doing it. But until we meet again, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Stay tuned. But wrapping up, I just want to say thank you very much. And until we meet again, I catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.